but it looks awesome. And honestly sounds pretty cool too. Lately, the scale budget RC helicopter world has been kind of amazing, especially the ready to fly world. I think about a year ago we featured a blue and white helicopter very similar to this, under $100. The video did well because of the price and just because it was so easy to fly. And since then we've seen a lot of expensive scale helicopters come out, and not as many in that price point where I thought everybody loved. It also comes completely ready to fly with the nice controller, and we've got lights installed and 2 flight batteries, which I think is absolutely amazing. But it also has technology called a visual position hold. There's a little camera on the bottom of the helicopter and it kind of acts like a GPS, so it's going to hold it in place. As long as the wind isn't like 10 miles an hour or more, it should be able to hover completely on its own. I want to show you guys this today, but I'm also going to put my money where my mouth is, and after I fly it around for about a minute or two, just to show you what it looks like in the air, make sure it's not going to go crazy, because sometimes helicopters can, I'm going to pass the controls off to a complete novice, a friend of mine that's learning how to fly with an Aeroscout. He's learning on airplanes, but he has 0 skill on helicopters. And I thought it'd be really fun to make him extremely uncomfortable and fly in front of thousands of people on YouTube and see if he could fly a helicopter. So that sounds like a fun idea. So let's go. Throttle is here. Throttle up, it'll go up. Throttle down, it'll go down. This will rotate to the right. This will rotate to the left. This stick, you push forward, it'll go forward. Even if it's facing you, it'll go forward. You pull back, it'll fly backwards. You push right, it'll go right, and left goes left. Got it?
I think.
Okay. If you have any questions, we'll get you.
How do you make it hover? Just like that?
Yeah, just like that. Ooh, the lights look good. Throttle up, down. Okay. Cool. Good looking light there. Blinking light there.
Show me the front again.
Green light there. Light on the front. It has an auto takeoff button, so let's press that. Nice. And there's a little breeze that's pushing it over to the left, but right there it stopped and it's holding in position on its own. So far I've touched nothing, and that is because the visual position hold camera noticed that it was drifting, so it kicked in, it saw that we're going off to the left, so it compensates for it. All of this again is not me touching anything except one button, so that's really cool. If we throttle up, it's just going to fly up some. And when we fly it around like this with the right stick, now I'm pushing full forward, but it's not fighting that wind at all, so I need to go to rate 2, and it gives me a little more power, but let's just go to rate 3 so I can actually fight that wind. When I'm flying the helicopter, visual position hold doesn't take over. It lets me fly the helicopter. So if I want it to lock in, I take my hands off the controls, it should drift for a second or two and then catch in place again. So that's pretty cool. We can go wild with yaw, push it around. This is a scale helicopter. We're not going to do any crazy stunts with it or anything, but it looks awesome. And honestly sounds pretty cool too. Now Andy, when you take the controls, you don't need to do anything crazy. You would probably do something like this, where you face the helicopter away from you. And this is what I would recommend most people do that are learning to fly. Get about a mistake or so high and let the helicopter face away from you. Then you want to just push right and see what happens. Push left and see what happens. Pull back a bit and forward, and then play around with up and down and spinning the helicopter with yaw and making it stop. So I say that because if the helicopter's facing this way and you push right, guess what happens? Whoa, it goes left. So when you're spinning in circles and doing some crazy stuff, that can get a little bit confusing. So for newer pilots, I always recommend you face the helicopter away. And also let's press the auto landing button just to see how smooth it does. Then I'll pass the controls to Andy. That was a bouncy landing, but it did it. It's on the ground.
Good job.
Okay, so I'm gonna rotate it back around and then you fly it. I guess I'll put it in the middle switch, but I'm sure you do fine in right.
Don't press anything yet.
So remember, Andy has experience with an Aeroscout, and he's done really well with it actually, but that's pretty much his only experience.
Ready for auto takeoff?
Go for it. You can kind of let it do its thing. And now you just fly it. The nice thing is too, it has an emergency stop button. So if we had little kids out here running around and they ran out toward it, you can always press that emergency stop button. And already he's rotating the helicopter pretty well. And I know
Starting to fill it.
Yeah, good. It's okay if you go behind us, no problem. You got it though. Now, I can tell you're fighting that little breeze, and it's hard. So what I'm going to do is give you all the power. I started Andy off in rate 2, but I think he'll do better in rate 3. So he's trying to fight that breeze to get it back out of the sun. There you go. That's what you were trying to do, right?
Right.
I knew it. The helicopters didn't used to have, there's 2 things working for this. Altitude hold, which drones fly on. That means Andy doesn't have to worry too much about the elevation of the helicopter. If he doesn't touch that left stick, it'll probably hold about where it is. Now if he flies full forward, it can drop some, but it should maintain pretty well. The other thing is that visual position hold. So a lot of guys, when they learned how to fly helicopters, the second they took off, it would go nuts. And if they pushed full forward, it would just do a loop. So most guys, about maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, learning to fly RC helicopters, I'd say their first couple flights maybe never even really got off the ground, because that helicopter would pitch forward, those blades would catch, and it would just explode. He knows what he's doing. He realizes there's a little drift. He's trying to rotate it back around and then push forward to come back. And it just doesn't like the wind, does it? But you're doing okay. You got it. He's just doing some crazy stunts down there for everybody. You trying to get it back?
Yeah.
You want me to try to push it back really quick?
Please.
Okay. Sometimes helicopters orientation's hard, so what you do is you push forward. Instead of trying to get it to go back to you, you get it to go left or right. And then you can figure out which way it's actually headed and make a quarter rotation. Sorry about going
fly over us.
Well, the sun did blind me. So what I did was, if helicopter's orientations hurt you like that distance, rotate it and then push forward. And now I know it's going left, so rotate a quarter turn, and I know it's coming back toward me. So that's a trick that I've learned because I have lost a handful of helicopters with that orientation. Andy, I'll let you take back over. I think that's an important thing to learn with helicopters too. Just don't make your maiden flight be on a windy day. So Andy's fighting through this little breeze just fine. He's doing a really good job here. But if this were a 10-mile-an-hour day and he flew it up to maybe like 20 feet or so, by then it could be gone, depending on
what are we looking at for a flight time?
Oh gosh, this thing will fly at least 15 minutes on 1 battery, and it came with 2 batteries. So really good flight times. Nice helicopter. When we featured the blue version of this, people fell in love with it. I think almost every RC person in the world bought one.
Trying to get it away from us.
You're doing fine.
Come down a little bit.
See, Andy's doing great. He's never flown a helicopter before.
Never.
I'm only slightly terrified, Andy. Only slightly. I don't like it up there.
After this flight, he and I are going to do a little flying fun. He brought his Aero Scout, and I'm going to fly my RJ.
I'm getting really high. I'm coming down.
Not only is Andy holding down, he's holding rotation too. He descends.
Mayday! Mayday! Mayday!
No, there's a reason.
That's a trainer.
There's a reason it doesn't come down very fast, because if it dropped any quicker, it could get really wobbly and you wouldn't have a lot of control over the helicopter. So they want it to descend slowly.
Low battery alarm just started going off. That's the beep.
So now that it's out here, Andy, I want to pass the controls back to you. You can practice the landing manually, or you can press the button. Just pull down on that throttle.
push the button.
Okay, so it's gonna descend, but you still got a little control over it. There you go. Keep it over the runway. Push forward a little. It's okay if it hits the grass. It's no problem. You can hold throttle down, but I think it push forward. We'll get it back over the runway and just hold straight down on that throttle now.
Very
Now
nice.
hold it down, hold it down. Just keep holding down until it stops.
Okay.
Just keep holding it.
That's some fancy landing moves,
I've
Andy.
never landed like that.
You think you'd be sick? Well, sorry for the not so good flight, but
Well, that was good.
It's good. It showed people that it can be flown. Andy was trying to apologize. I said, Andy, you flew it and came back in one piece. That is a great first flight, if you ask me. Do you remember your first Air Scout flight?
I do.
It's a lot different than where you're at now, isn't it?
And my second one went for a crash.
So we all crash, we all learn, and I think this just proves how easy this is to fly. Now I know Andy, he's also trying to give you guys a nice show. He doesn't just want to hover it there for the whole flight. But I would encourage you guys, when your first flight is, you buy your first helicopter, just hover it for a while and see how that does for you. And just give little inputs and, move it around a little bit at a time, especially if you don't have a Nate from the RC Sailors standing by you to catch your helicopter for you if you're out there flying by yourself. Take baby steps when you're doing that. This is completely ready to fly. We'll have a coupon code linked in the description box below. And I just want to point out too, brushless main rotor, brushless tail rotor, which we don't see very often. Remember all the technology packed into this too for the altitude hold and the visual position hold on this helicopter. Very cool, very scale looking, very bright and easy to see. I think it could be the perfect trainer helicopter. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I want to say massive thanks to God for blessing us with this awesome, beautiful day to share with our friends and to be able to share this experience with you guys. I also want to say a massive thanks to our Patreon supporters because we couldn't do what we do as often as we do it without your insanely awesome support. I was flying out here with AMA, the Academy of Model Aeronautics, because this was a maiden flight of this helicopter, but actually our friend Andy also has AMA. He knows the benefits of flying with it, especially when we're flying at a location like where we do. So I strongly encourage you guys, if you're maidening something for the first time, a little bit out of your comfort zone, fly with AMA. We'll have them linked in the description box below too. Now we do have a very cool helicopter that even if 135 or so is a little bit out of your price range, we have one that comes in even cheaper and flies just about as good. I think you'll really love that and you'll want to check it out. That video is popping up right about now. Thanks for watching. See you there.
Bye.